Sorry, I'm always a little bit behind there with the countdown. Just trying to work out all this streaming stuff still. What's up, Elk? Yo, thanks for coming, man. Every time. I can always rely on my man. So, I'm here. For anyone new, I'm James. I'm a product designer. I am working on a project now, which I will show you here in SolidWorks, which is a drum machine. This is what I've gotten up to so far. So it's basically currently a very flat device. I'm not sure yet how flat it will stay, but it is a digital drum machine with a display and some buttons. There will probably be a lot more buttons than this. This is just starting to block things out, you know. And there's some jacks here, just some MIDI jacks and some audio output jacks. But like I said, more to come. Yeah, so if you're into design, if you're into music tech stuff, designing instruments and devices, you're in the right place. I'm glad you found me. Glad to have you here. For the people who will be watching later. Right now, it's just me and Elk, and I'm so grateful that Elk is here, and he's always here, which is sick. By the way, Elk, I saw the guy Architect. I went and met him at Super Booth, and he's a super nice guy. I talked to him at his booth for a little bit. This is the guy from the Golden Shrimp Guild, so shout out to the Golden Shrimp Guild guys. And I was gonna post in the Discord, but then I forgot what my what my stream link is, so that's why I took a little bit of time trying to start out the stream, and I still didn't even end up linking it over there, so let me do that now.
Converted into materials with useful properties.
But yeah, what's going on with you, Elk?
Oops.
Yeah, what's going on? Now I'm playing my own stream on my own stream. That's pretty cool. Okay, so Discord link posted. Someone on YouTube question mark E, you're super cool. Hey, you're super cool too, man. Thanks for joining. What's up, Sepsa? Welcome back. Thanks for rejoining again. Heck yeah, GSG is really cool and supportive community. Yeah, for sure. And the guy, I still don't actually know his name. I don't know if he wants to remain anonymous or if he just didn't tell me his name, but I know him as Architect, and the guy is super cool. Really nice guy. So had a good chat with him there, and he's great. Of course, mate. Yeah, thanks. Messaging Joao at the moment and getting ready to install a patch bay in my hardware. Dude, I saw your Instagram post. That looks cool. For fast gear changeouts. I'm all about that. I love optimizing workflows and stuff, so that's super cool. Sepsa, your voice, wow. Dude, I'm glad you like it. I don't know, I always thought that my voice was annoying, but glad somebody likes it, so it's great. So yeah, that was just some update stuff. I don't want to make this too long and drawn out of an intro for people who are just seeing this at some point for the first time. I want to show some drum machine stuff. Although I do want to say one thing. I reached 200 subscribers on YouTube. I can't remember if I said this on the last stream or not. And yeah, I'm sure that for a lot of people that seems like a really small milestone, but for me, you know, it's something. And I'm very grateful for everyone who's subscribed. And the Twitch is slowly growing too, so it's awesome. Thanks heaps to everyone who's watching and who has supported me so far. It's really, can't thank you enough. Hey, let's go. Yes, let's go. Yeah, it seems like a small victory, but I'm happy about it. So, but anyway, where are we up to on the drum machine? Also, sorry, I took a few days off. I've been wanting to do more of this stuff, but my parents are actually currently visiting from Australia, so I've just spent the last few days with them, showing them around Berlin, and showing them what I've been doing basically for the last 3.5 years, which was cool because sort of made it feel a bit more real. Like it felt like I've been living a dream, sort of being on the other side of the world all this time, and having them here kind of grounded me a little bit and made it like, yeah, I'm actually, I'm not lying about all this stuff, and it's cool for them to see it. But yeah, so I had to take a little bit of a break, and I also will be having a bit of a break this Friday. I'm gonna be going on another little trip for about a week or so. So yeah, but I'm gonna do as much as I can before leaving. So yeah, in the last stream, also just before I started this stream, I just decided I wanted to make the color of this a little bit different. Very unimportant, but it's just pleases me a little bit more to have a nicer grey color because it was kind of bluish before. Still don't know what the final color of the device will be. Not that it's that important really in the scheme of things, but it'll probably be made of aluminium in the end, and we'll hopefully be able to anodize it, and I might be like a silvery color or black, I don't know. So we have a aluminium folded back enclosure, a double layered aluminium top, and in the last video I sort of mocked in some plastic button caps here, some switch caps, which don't actually fit in the switches that I've got here just because I made it up on the spot. So I do want to fix those up and make them a bit more accurate, but it's not a crucial task that I need to do right now. Something else that I'll probably tidy up at some point is the jacks, but I'm gonna leave them for now. Yessa, who's this project is kind of his brainchild, he did mention to me that he doesn't think we should bother with the vertical PCB, at least for the prototype, because it doesn't really matter how thick or how thin the device is. And I agree. Yeah, we don't need to optimize so much yet. And he was even thinking like we potentially don't need to limit ourselves to one PCB for the prototype. And that also makes sense. Though, I don't know, I'm of the feeling like if we can sort of get it as close to the final design as possible, then that will save us time in the long run. But I do need to consider that this device will be running probably off of Raspberry Pi, at least for the prototype. So I have to consider the thickness of the Raspberry Pi as well, and where that's going to fit in the scheme of things. So that might mean that the prototype enclosure is a bit thicker if we have to have like a part where the Pi slots in. So yeah, I need to think about that a little bit as well, keep that in consideration. But for now, I'm kind of feeling like there's a severe lack of knobs on this device. So I think I would like to get some knobs happening. Because we have some buttons. Is Pi better set up than Daisy? Daisy, I looked into Daisy, but I don't remember the details about it. Let me just, what's the full name of Daisy again? By the way, I set up, so I have Firefox here so I don't accidentally dox anything. Electro Harmonics Daisy? No, Electro Harmonics. Are you sure? Electro Harmonics make pedals and stuff, right? Daisy, what is it? Daisy microcontroller. Something Is this what you're talking about? The Daisy Seed? Daisy Field Synth. Daisy Field Synth. Daisy Field Electro Smith. Ah, yeah. I get you. So this is a device that's running on the Daisy Seed, I think. Electro Smith harmonics. Yeah, gotcha. Electro harmonics, easy mistake to make. It's in the same sort of realm of products. But yeah, so the Daisy Seed is a microcontroller, and let's see, programmable in Arduino, Cortex M7 MCU running it for 80 megahertz. Yeah, so I mean, it's a similar kind of device as a Pi, but it's a lot more underpowered. What have we got? There might be some advantages in the audio processing. And let's go Pi 4B. Also, this is a bit of a dream now. It's a thing of the past. This from $35. It used to be about $35. Now they're about $185. Wasn't sure if the tech was more audio focused. I mean, it probably is a bit more audio focused, but computationally a lot less powerful. Let's see if I can find the specs of this. So yeah, here we got Cortex A72. So it's a quad core running at 1.8 gigahertz, whereas the Daisy is, I think, it's a single core running at 480 megahertz. So yeah, it's a lot less juice. Not as much of a juice and magoosa. But yeah, it is pretty cool for stuff that's computationally low power requirements. Like for a synth, I think it's really good. Like the synth engine that Yesa is planning to run on this thing will probably run on the Daisy Seed fine, but doing samples and stuff, I think we'll need a bit more computation there, as well as the effects. The effects will have some pretty heavy DSP load, I guess. Well, not super heavy, but maybe a bit heavier than this can handle. Ideally, we would be able to run the Pi 4 compute module. So this is essentially a Raspberry Pi 4, like this. So you have the processor and the RAM and stuff, but instead of having all this I/O and the pins and everything, you just have the board, which has like just the processor and all the stuff you need for computing. Sampling is the goal of this unit. It's mixed, so it will, as far as I know, and I mean, like I said, this is Yes's baby. He is really the one who will determine all the functionality. I'm just there for feedback on that. But as far as I know, what he wants is for it to be both a synth engine and a sampling engine. Or when I say engine, like the sources of sound will come from, that will be synthesized and they will be sampled. So yeah, it's a mix of both. But yeah, so this thing would be great because it's super thin. Sounds a bit like Octatrack with Digitact. Yeah, I guess you could kind of think about it like that. Yeah, you know me, like I'm not that experienced with those devices, so I got to get Yessi in here sometime, and we can both talk to you guys and we can nerd out about everything that you can expect from the usability. I know he is Electron focused. He does have a lot of experience with Electron gear. So yeah, he's very much in that world of thinking. But yeah, so this little board takes up very little space and just plugs in with these two sockets. The problem is that this hasn't been available anywhere for about 3 years. About 2 years probably. And I think now the Pi Foundation are really just kind of struggling to find people to manufacture their stuff or to get manufacturing happening again, because the components have really risen in price. I'm not sure how popular this ever was to begin with. I think the full size thing with the I/O was always a lot more popular. I guess someone still has a need for this, but who knows? I've been wondering if they plan to release a Pi 5 at some point, and I think the CEO, or is it the CEO? I guess it's the CEO of the Pi Foundation. I think he said at some point, like, we're really just trying to get manufacturing happening again, and there isn't really any focus on new products. So yeah, gotta find a way forward. So for now, we'll probably just try something like this. So yeah, that is gonna have to fit, into this somewhere, like whether it's on the bottom or the top or the underside of the PCB, I don't know. Yeah, now I want to figure out some knobs, and I've thought about, there are these knobs called, what are they called? I think the company is Alpha Taiwan. Yeah, here we go, Taiwan Alpha. Now this company makes a knob, or when I say knob, I mean a potentiometer. Because for a digital product like this, we ideally want to have knobs that are next to the display, like either along the top or along the side or along the bottom or something. And the reason for that is we can make an endless knob, so it could be an encoder or whatever, that you can continue turning all the way. It doesn't have end stops, and that means that you can have a value displayed on the screen above it. So you could either have like a fake knob showing on the display when you can show the position of it, or you could have a bar that shows the value or something. And the reason for that is if you have like multiple pages that those knobs are controlling, then when you flick to the next page, you want to be able to see what the new value is of that knob. And if the knob has a physical line on the actual knob, and it has end stops, then when you go to the new page, that line isn't going to show properly where that new value is. So we make it blank on the top, we make it endless, and we show the position on the display. There's other methods of solving this issue, like what the Melbourne Instruments guys did, and I also went and checked out these guys at Super Booth, and they're really nice dudes. Had a good chat with them. Also from Melbourne, like me, or I'm from near Melbourne. So yeah, we had a good chat, and they're super cool guys, and they made a really cool device. And this device has motorized knobs, so you can see them turning there. It's awesome. Like you reload a new patch or a new preset, and the knobs all spin around to where they should be, which is another way of doing it, which is also really cool. Similar to Hydrosynth, they use LED rings, but I'm referring to knob placement. Yeah, the LED rings is another way. It means you don't need to have a display next to the knob. You can just have an LED ring around the knob. That's also a really good option. But that does limit you to values. like 0 to 100 values. What I mean by that is you might have a knob that is going to show like items on a list, or I don't know, like on off or something. So those things you can display on a screen, but you can't show them on an LED ring. But I also really like LED rings. How was that Nina? Yeah, Nina was super cool. UDO Gemini was the only synth that caught my eye. The motors on the knobs were crazy strong. Yo, Andy, thanks for joining, man. Good to have you here. Yeah, they are really strong. I had a bit of a chat with Rex, I think it was, and also Ian. And yeah, Rex explained to me a little bit about how they work. It's like basically a drone motor, and yeah, they're really strong. Yeah, drone motors. They're meant to last. I'd love to snag one, but they're a bit spendy. Yeah, I mean, understandable. Like, this essentially is one drone worth of electronics here, and then another one, then another one, then another one, another one, another one, another one, another one. So yeah, you got like 8 drones worth of motors there. Of course, you can expect that that's gonna have a price. But it's super cool. I loved it. And he showed me like all the different haptic options they have. Like they can make it so it clicks, or so it's smooth, or so it's like spring loaded in either direction. And it doesn't matter how hard you turn it, you can kind of force it past its spring loading and it won't break. So it's really cool. Yeah. UDO Super Gemini was the only synth that caught my eye. What was that one? UDO Super Gemini. This one? Oh. Okay, looks cool. This is all 3D renders, I guess. Lots of faders. Very nice marketing material. Bro, I'm trying to protect my wallet. Quit being excited by that synth. Sorry, dude. The Nina has the aesthetic I'd love to add to my setup, and I'm enamored by the motor. Also the Super 6. I want that. I want Super Gemini. Yeah, this looks really nice. I don't know how close this 3D rendering is to the final thing, but I'm just noticing like the little mechanical design details. I like these switches a lot, and I also like that they have like these nuts on the jacks that don't have like a hexagon shape on them. They just have little slots. They look quite nice. Nina sounded awesome, and the menu scrolling was super fun. Yeah, dude, the haptics on the knob for navigating all that kind of stuff, it's so good. I've been watching Lupop's video about it. He did like a 45-minute video about it. I haven't made it all the way through yet, but yeah, it looks like it can do some crazy stuff. I was just nerding out about the design. I didn't even try and make sounds with it. But yeah, it does look very cool. It has a good sort of vintage analog synth vibe. Anyway, getting very distracted here. Where did I put that? Right. So we've got to look at knobs. And yeah, what I was explaining is that we want to have values on the display that show you the position of the knob. So that means we need to have endless knobs. And in the past, I've worked on products that had encoders. And encoders are pretty good. And generally, you can either have detent encoders or smooth encoders. So ones where they actually click. or little clicks, so you can hear them like as you turn it. And it has one detent per, I forget what the word is. Like, you have actual contacts on the encoder, which determines the resolution. So most of them are about 24 detents, and they have 24 contacts on them. So you get 24 pulses per rotation, which means the resolution of one rotation is 24. Now with a potentiometer, where you turn it from 0 to 100 and it has endpoints, that has a lot more resolution, but it's an analog control. So an encoder is a digital control, it just sends ones and zeros, whereas a pot is like it's a variable resistor. So you're changing the resistance, and that value can be like really fine. So you could have a resolution of like 10-bit or something, like thousands of individual positions that it could be at. But a pot has endpoints, but there is something called an endless pot, which is something that these guys make. And what it does is, let me just open up my other trusty CAD software here. My favorite CAD software, second favorite. So a pot, like electronically, it has like a resistance ring like this, and it has a metal sweeper that sweeps around, and the further it sweeps around, the more or less resistance it has. So, but it has endpoints, it stops here and here. But what Alpha have done is basically made one ring like this and one ring like this. So you can have a sweeper which can keep going the whole way around, and you just have to, like, you'll get a signal on this ring that goes 0 to 100, and then you get nothing, and then it goes back to 0 and then goes back to 100. But in that point where you have, in that section where you have nothing, you are getting values from this ring where you're getting actual values. So the parts where you can't have values are overlapping with another ring, so you do keep getting values. So you need to use two analog pins, two analog to digital converters, to sort of find out what the value is at any point in time, or any point in the rotation. And like, yeah, when one of the values is missing, you use the other value. So you can always tell if it's going up or down, and it can keep going around and around, which, long story short, you get an endless knob with like a crazy high resolution at the expense of using analog inputs for the knob. But we think that it's worth trying that. So I'm going to try and put that in the device. Yeah, just so you can see here, we've got rotary potentiometers and rotary encoders. So we want a potentiometer. We want one with a rotation angle of 360 degrees, but it should be a dual unit number of resistor elements. So the resistor elements are these two rings. So having two is a dual element. You can also get a triple element, I guess. So dual unit, but it's only 300 degrees, so we need a 360. So I think this one, and what's this one? Triple unit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we need a triple unit. And I think there's also one with a push button. Yeah, this one here. Push switch 360 dual unit. Not sure yet if we need the push. I think Yessa actually said to me that he would prefer it without a push button. I'm going to be listening, but I'm about to begin my teardown and may not be able to respond to questions immediately. That's all good, man. You do you. I'm just glad you're here. Okay. Now, the issue is going to be that they don't have a 3D model. So am I going to make a 3D model, or am I going to hope that somebody on GrabCAD has already made one? Let's have a look. I'll just look up Taiwan Alpha. This might be a stretch for somebody to have made one of these. Ooh, Alpha? No, that's not it. What is it? RV. Ooh. No, that's not it. I'm just looking at the product number, but it's clearly not it. Alpha, do you guys have 3D models? I mean, they must, but I probably have to email them. Download. Okay. Nothing in the download section. What should I do? Let me just take a chance on typing the part number. No. 142 FPF. No. What is this? Wait, 2D model not available. Looks like they don't have any model. What's Octopart? I haven't even seen that before. It's 2D CAD, ECAD. Ooh, what's MCAD? Mechanical? Can I preview it? I need to sign up. Let me see how hard that is. Wait. Oh. I'm viewing the 3D CAD. That's not so great. At least the footprint's there. No. No. Alright, so maybe what should I do? Should I start 3D modeling it, or do I just email them and ask for a model? Because if I email them and ask for a model, then I won't be putting in any knobs today. Unless I CAD, like, physically a knob cap, like, instead of the potentiometers, I could do that. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Okay, so I won't bother making an email now. I'll do that at the end of the stream. For now, I'll just put in some physical knobs. Something knob-like. Alright. Let's make a knob. And I don't know what Yasser wants them to look like. If we should just do like a very simplistic kind of just a straight knob, or if it should be stepped, or if it should have knurling or something. I'll just mock something up. Just a very basic one. Okay. Knob top. Keycap top. I should have named that. And actually, these keycap and knob sketches really like the Just trying to think, because for placement of knobs, for placement of knobs on this PCB top sketch, I want to have like you know the size of my keycaps and the size of my knobs, so that I can place them, and that'll kind of determine where components will go. But the height of my knobs and the height of my keycaps is kind of determined by the PCB right sketch, because because depending on how tall the PCB is, changes how far down the switches will be, which changes how long the switch cap stems need to be, and depending how low the PCB is, also changes how much the potentiometer shaft is sticking out the top of the device, which is going to change how deep the holes in the knobs need to be. So I need the keycap top and the knob top sketch before PCB top, but I need keycap right and knob right to be after PCB right. What's the logical way to do this? Because I like having all my kind of components at the beginning of the tree. The same thing with my display protector, really. Like, my display protector should inform the position of the display in the PCB top, but the display protector right I was going to say that's driven by the height of the PCB, but it's not, because it'll just be the thickness of the top enclosure plate. Okay, so maybe I keep those where they are. But I'll do the right of those. After the PCB right. But then in the PCB right sketch, I won't be able to see the knobs in their positions. Hello, I want to create a robot. Have you ever tried to use Fusion 360? Yeah, I have tried to use Fusion 360. It's pretty good, but I prefer to use SolidWorks because I prefer to extrude from sketch vertexes and extrude to sketch vertexes. And as far as I know, that's not possible in Fusion 360. But if it is, I would consider using it, but I'm pretty happy with SolidWorks. And I don't know much about making robots. Okay. I mean, to avoid just thinking about this forever, I've just got to start doing something. And yeah, I might have to change it later, but we'll see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my component right drawings after the PCB right drawings. Yeah, we'll just see how it goes. So I'm gonna turn these off, turn this off. Oh, I'll turn this back on actually. And enclosure right. And then I'm gonna start making a knob, which is gonna be basically a trapezoid, so that I can give it some angle on the sides there. Which helps for like molding, but also helps with the way you feel a knob, like feeling a knob with angled sides. It's potentially nicer. Slightly cone shaped, I guess. I'm gonna put a little center line here just so I have a middle point. I'm gonna turn off my origin so that I can actually link this to my... Why is my origin still showing? Link it to that center point. I don't know, like sometimes I get worried. I'm trying to talk like quietly so that I'm not pissing off my neighbors too much. But sometimes I start talking with a lot of vocal fry like this, and I start feeling like I'm talking like Miley Cyrus. You might have seen that video where she's like, the journey is the best part, whatever she says. Sounds ridiculous. So apologies if I start sounding a bit like Miley Cyrus or like a pack-a-day smoker or something. Okay, I'm gonna do a little line here which connects to here, and that'll determine my knob height. How much clearance do we want on the knob from the top plate? Maybe a millimeter. Nice and clean. Knob height can be, what do you think? Where's my ruler? Maybe 20 mil. 20 mil looks pretty good. And the angle here can be uh, two degrees. Sure. Gabrielle Vlad, I'm not sure if you're still here, but thanks for joining, by the way. Sorry I couldn't help too much with the robotic stuff, but tell me, like, what makes you want to build a robot, and what kind of experience do you have in CAD? Okay, I'm gonna add a little fillet here just for reference. Get 1 millimeter. Actually, I'll do that here too. Don't need it, but just for the hell of it. I'll make this, this, and this. construction lines. Wait, here we go. Oh, that didn't work. Just so I can do this. By the way, for anyone watching right now, I did make a slight studio upgrade. I'm using a new lens on my camera. I was using a Samyang 35mm lens, and now I have a Samyang 24-70, which means I can go a little bit wider. Problem is that for whatever reason, they sold this lens with a firmware on it, which doesn't allow, or doesn't work, like the autofocus doesn't work specifically on the A7S2 or A7 II when in video mode, which is exactly the camera I have and exactly the mode that I want. I have to have it on manual focus, so I guess when I get close and when I get far away, I'm going to be out of focus because I just had to set like one level. The new lens is nicer. Yeah, I think it looks good. I have it like slightly wider than normal right now. Like, I can show, this is like the full width, but then that kind of ruins the illusion. You can see my LED strips and my overhead camera, so I'm just zooming it in a bit so that you can't see that. But yeah, it is good. So I can make it a little bit wider than my old lens. I just need to fix this focus thing. Clarity is good, definitely an upgrade. Oh, cool. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I think it does look good. I think it looks a bit clearer. I'm just a bit like out of focus at times. I might have just thrown off the focus then by zooming it. I don't know. All right. And this knob, I guess, would also have some section in the middle for the shaft. And I actually should put the whole diameter in there. Yeah, I really like the lens. I'm just a bit annoyed because I obviously need to upgrade the firmware, and I found that there is a new firmware update which specifically says on the patch notes, like, fixes autofocus problem on Sony A7 II in video mode. Where I'm like, okay, obviously need that. But to upgrade it, you need a Samyang lens station, which is like a little thing that plugs into the lens and that has a USB cord that can update the firmware. Apparently you can't do it through the camera, which is a bit annoying. And it costs like $50 or something, which isn't too bad, but it's like, if I'm going to use it once, I might just see if I can find somebody who has one. Of course. Yeah, it's so annoying. It's such a bitch. Okay, so I just put a hole in the center of the knob, and just for any tech nerds following along who want to make knobs, encoder shafts and potentiometer shafts are generally 6mm in diameter, and you need the shaft to be slightly bigger than that to so that it fits. So I usually go for 6.05, sometimes even up to 6.1 or 6.15. And then they generally have a flat here, and you don't measure the width of the flat, but you measure the center of the hole to the flat. I just can't remember what that measurement is, so I'm gonna make it like 2mm for now. I'll have to fix that later. Make those construction lines, and I'm going to put a little break here so I have a point to link my right sketch to. So, and I haven't renamed this yet. Knob right. So I can link this line to this point. It defines my width, and then I just need to define the height, and that will later be defined by the height of the knob. And I don't know what that'll be yet, because I'll have an encoder or a potentiometer sitting on this PCB like this, and then from there it'll have a set height shaft, which you can usually choose. Maybe it'll be like 15, 20, 25 millimeters. So depending on which one I choose, then I'll make this match the height of that potentiometer. For now, 12 will be fine. Then I'll roll this forward, and I'm going to put in some knobs on this drawing. So I still haven't figured out how to make a macro. Actually, let me take some notes of the things that I need to do after this stream. So I need to request a 3D model from Alpha for their pots. Request 3D model. Here we go. Do you want to see how terrible my handwriting is and how ridiculous my left-handed writing skills are? Request 3D model from Alpha. I'm so bad at writing. What was the other thing I said? Oh yeah, I need to finish SolidWorks macro. So I talked about this in the last stream. I need a way to duplicate sketch elements like this. So say I have a circle like this, and I made it equal to that circle, and then I like drop it here somewhere. So that's fully defined, and it has an external reference to another sketch defining its diameter. But then I want to make another copy of this, which I can do, but this new copy isn't defined. It doesn't have that same equal relation, and I haven't found any way to duplicate sketch elements with oh my god. Done it again. Wasn't showing the screen. Yep. Thanks for that, Andy. Yeah, so I do that way too often. So what I was saying is I drew this circle in here, and it is referencing, I made it equal to this other sketch, and then if I copy it and paste it, it's all the same, but if I move it around, the size of it is different. Like the size isn't defined. So like this one, if I drag it here, it's black and it's defined, but this one, if I drag it here, it's still blue, because the radius of the circle can change, because when I copied it, this equal relation, making it equal to the other sketch, didn't copy. By the way, Andy, thank you for pointing that out, because I need more people to point out when I'm doing that, because I've gone for like 20 minutes before working on stuff and not realized I wasn't showing anything on the screen. So I appreciate that. But yeah, so I asked ChatGPT if it could write a SolidWorks macro for me, because you have this thing here where you can run a macro, like a custom script, and that macro should be able to take a selection and duplicate it with external references. I just haven't figured out how to run it yet. So that's my other note that I've written here to work that out. No stress. Yeah, thanks, man. Okay, so I'm gonna throw in some knobs. Where am I gonna put them? Like, I'm thinking that knobs along the top of the screen could be good at the moment. Not sure if that's also what Yesa wants. But, yeah, maybe for now I'll do that. So I'm gonna move the display down. Then I'm gonna put some knobs here. I'm gonna move this down. And I might even add in some more buttons. I wonder if I can fit 8 buttons in there. Don't know. I need to put the display protector in here, actually. That's something I haven't done yet. So maybe I'll get this out of the way for a second. What am I showing here? Yeah, so I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to paste it here. Give it some relations. Okay. Then I can link that to this. That's gonna line up very perfectly. Whatever. Can probably fix it later. Don't know what the display is gonna look like yet. Maybe I'll just make this a bit smaller now, just so it's not too confusing. Okay. Now what's the smallest I can make my switch caps? It's gonna move everything around, yeah. Gotta hide all these. I'm gonna have to hide this a bunch of times. So kale. Nope. Okay, what's the maximum width of these? Like, how close can I stack these things together? 15 millimeters. So I probably wouldn't want to. I probably want to leave a little bit of space either side for them. So center to center distances between two switches, if I made them 16 mil apart, would that mean they would have a 1 mil gap between them? Wonder if I can get away with a 15.5 mil gap between them. But then you wouldn't be able to reach these little clips from the top. From the bottom you could. But I'm not going to use the clips anyway. Okay. Whoops. Still don't know what lock means. Okay, so technically I can make my switch caps smaller than the switch, and I can space the switches 15.5 mil apart. Maybe 15.4. So I'm going to make this 14 for now. PCB top. .4 mil spacing. Oh yeah, I can easily get 8 buttons along the bottom. So gonna line that up centered, and I'll measure the distance between my display protector and the switch cap. Make it 5 mil. And what's determining that space between them? Oh yeah, this gap. Okay. I can probably increase that gap. To 18 maybe for now. Oh god, I need this macro so bad. So I need to make more of these switches. I have to make them equal to everything, and then they're going to be underneath this thing, which is going to get in the way. Whatever. Let's do it. This equal to this. This equal to this. This equal to this. Is that enough? Nope. There we go. So I need 3 more, right? There were some other things I was going to talk about here, but I forgot. Oh, my song that got claimed by Sony. I managed to sort that problem. Like I just disputed it and that worked, so I guess they didn't care that much about claiming ownership of my song. It's a bit annoying that they just do that, like, so haphazardly. That they'll just claim a song and be like, this is ours. And then you go, no, it's not, it's mine. They go, oh, you're right. Sorry. It's like, well, you made that unavailable for my audience for however many days. And I'm not making any money, so that's fine. But if I was making money, that would be a big pain in the ass. So do they get any repercussions for like false claiming somebody? I don't know. Guess you could sue them for losses if you had the money for that. Okay. Got my new buttons. Trying to think of what else I can say about Superbooth. To be honest, like I kind of wasted a bit of time. I didn't get to see that much stuff. But the stuff that I did see, like the Nina thing was super cool. And those guys were really cool. And the guy from the Golden Shrimp Guild was pretty cool, so that wasn't time wasted. I went and checked out the Expressive E Osmosis, or Osmos, I think it's called. I can't remember if that was at last year's Super Booth, but if it was, I didn't play with it. But this year I did. And that's a really cool device. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to look at the Polyend Tracker Mini, but when I went there, everybody was using them. Polyend Tracker Mini was awesome, like a Game Boy designed for adults. Yeah, that was the vibe I got from it. Yeah, it looks cool. Was it hard to pick it up, like to figure out how to use it, Andy? Or have you used the tracker before, like the big one? Because I figured that it would be a bit involved to learn how to use it. I don't know how user friendly it is. This is upside down. Okay, I'm gonna do 8 knobs, 8 buttons at the bottom, 6 knobs at the top. Hadn't ever used the tracker. Okay, and how'd you go with the how's your father? The tracker mini. This felt quite intuitive once you give yourself a minute to figure it out. Okay. That's good to hear. Can you see yourself using it, like, regularly, if you had one? Like, does it feel like something you'd want to use all the time, or is it like a when you're traveling kind of thing? I would like to have one for sure. Don't fancy paying full price though. Yeah, feel that. Everything's too expensive. But it'll come down in price, I guess. There's like a friendlier version of the OP1. Okay. Boom. 6 knobs. Now I've still got some space behind the jack, so I'm going to move this back up a bit. Oh, is that kind of too close? Maybe. Leave it at 20 for now. So what kind of music were you able to make on there? Like, were you making drum beats and as well as melodies and stuff, or? And how did you go like figuring out the sounds and stuff? Is this gonna update the size of my buttons? Hopefully. Oh, look at that. Look at these cute little buttons. Need to add some more in there so I have all 8. It was all sort of sample-based electronic beats. Sick. Was it easy like to choose the sounds and stuff? Does it have like... Would it have been cool to get to try to sample on it myself? But it was obviously too loud. Yeah, I bet. I think the other one had like a thing where you could sample the radio or something. Like a FM radio. Okay, I'm gonna bit of menu diving to choose sounds, but it gets quicker the longer you use it. Yeah, I bet. See, I think about it like if I'm sitting on a long flight or like a long road trip or something, it could be really fun. But I can't imagine myself like sitting at home making it on this little device when I have a computer here. But that's my personal preference. Like I prefer doing everything on a computer. Like, but I'm a computer nerd, so. I think the big one has a radio. OP1 has a radio too. Yeah. Yeah, can they both sample the radio? I think it's an interesting concept. I'm not sure why people decided all of a sudden that that's like a cool thing to do. Making a new part here. It's going to be my knob. Knob top, knob right. Gonna just do a revolve on this. So convert entities. Put a line down here. Trim. Yeah, both sample the radio. I'm pretty sure Godspeed You, Black Emperor used the radio on the OP1 on their latest record. Really? Such a random thing to do. I mean, I don't know, like, I guess in those like in the moment moments, when you just come up with something on a device and you go, that sounds cool, and you kind of just have to keep it because maybe recreating it on a computer is just too much fucking around. So yeah, I guess like it makes sense. But to me it seems like why am I using this little thing? Like I should do it properly, you know, like I should get a sample from, like, record it properly and process it properly and stuff, but I don't know, maybe it's just too much effort and kind of breaks the flow of making music. Maybe that's the reason why I take so long to make music. Or I just don't make music. Check it out, a knob. Okay. Let's enter the knobs. Top plane can be made with top plane because I actually made it so it's the correct height, but the position needs to be added to the front and the right. Do I have perspective on? Yeah, I do. There we go. There's one knob. You know what I heard, Andy? Just thinking about how you said that they use that on. I don't. To be honest, I don't know. Is Godspeed You the band and Black Emperor is the song? I think that's the way it is. I heard. I don't know if you know the podcast Song Exploder. It's this guy who interviews bands and musicians and stuff, and asks them like how they made specific songs. And I was listening to one from Fleet Foxes, and the guy was saying that he bought this reverb pedal. I can't remember exactly which pedal it was. The exclamation point is part of the name. Yeah, that was throwing me off a little bit. Yeah, Song Exploder's dope. So, he was talking about this song Maerkstapper. Maerkstapper. You probably know it because I guess that's a. I don't know if it's an Irish word or a Scottish word. I think it's Scottish actually. And he was talking about how he found this reverb pedal, or a pedal that had reverbs built into it. And one of the presets on the pedal for the reverb was called like it was something that references Fleet Foxes' White Winter Hymnal. Like it was like Fleet Hymnal or like Fox Hymnal or something. So it was a preset on this reverb pedal that was meant to sound like that song, which was his song, his own song from a previous album. And he used that pedal with that preset that's meant to sound like him, and he used it on one of his new songs, which I just thought was hilarious. That like this preset on a pedal, which could be thought of like it's not the real thing, like it's somebody copying the real thing, and the real thing is what the guy from Fleet Foxes did on the original track, I guess, the original White Winter Hymnal recording. Yet the guy who recorded that ended up actually using this copy from a random pedal. So I thought that was funny. Just wondering why these knobs say they're not defined. takes a while to save everything. Come on, what's missing? Oh. Phone battery's dying. What's the problem here? It's rotating. Just didn't realize it was rotating because it looks the same from all angles. My bad. In these moments, usually when I'm not streaming and I realize I need to do the same repetitive action like 10 times in a row, I start listening to a podcast. Even though it's like maybe a minute's work. I'm like, nah, this warrants me finding a podcast to listen to. But then I'll keep listening to it. Actually first started listening to podcasts when I got my first job doing SolidWorks stuff, because I find that SolidWorks tends to occupy the part of my brain that's like sort of creative and numerical, but not the part of my brain that's language focused. So I could actually listen to podcasts while CADing without getting too like distracted or too sidetracked, I guess. God, this is starting to look like an Ableton push, isn't it? Oh no. It won't in the end, don't worry. And these knobs, like, there doesn't have to be 6, and they don't have to be on the top of the display. I'm just mocking things in for now, and once I have everything like movable and adjustable, yes, and I will figure out exactly what's needed. So yeah, it's not going to be exactly like this in the end, is what I mean. Why did I open this? I didn't need to. I just want to add more of them. So I can need to copy with mates. This. Repeat, 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 repeat. Then bang, bang. Another one. I don't know why they look yellow or orange. Okay. Cool. More buttons. Good. Now more caps. Repeat. Repeat. Yeah, this is what I need to change. Maybe I'll do that next. Probably in the next stream. Need to make these buttons a bit more accurate. Alright, 8 buttons, 6 knobs, looking good. Let's set this back to opaque. Cool. And I'll put this on perspective. Look, device with stuff. There's buttons. There's knobs. Be nice to also have 8 buttons along the vertical here, but I feel like I'm going to struggle to fit that. But I will try. But I think I'll try next time. For now, I've been going for an hour 42 minutes. I think that's enough for one session. And made some pretty good progress. So I'm happy with that. What am I doing? I want to switch. Yeah, so like I said, next time I'm going to try to find some 3D models for these potentiometers. So I can put the potentiometers in there. I might also try and find a model for the Pi. I think there is actually a 3D model for that already, ready-made. So maybe I'll get that and see if I can put it into the CAD. Start thinking about where that should be placed. Yeah. So yeah, I might do a stream. It might actually not even be for like more than a week. Tomorrow I have something after work. Thursday a friend is in town. It's my only chance to meet him before going away again. And I'll be away for like 6 days, so yeah, it might not be until like next Saturday that I can get in another stream. So busy times, but we'll see what I can do. But yeah, so if you found the video somehow, I will be back. I will be doing more of this. So please, if you can, subscribe wherever you're watching, or at any of these places here with the social media places. Tell your friends if they're interested in it. And for everybody who joined in today and was chatting, thank you so much for joining. I'll see you whenever you pop on. Thanks, man. Thanks, Elk. And thanks as always for being here. Very reliable viewer. It's great to have you here. And yeah, like I said, very appreciative for everybody who's been watching, and for the people who have been subscribing. Very happy to have reached 200, even though 200 subs on YouTube, even though it's a small milestone, but you know, every step means something. So, and I'm really enjoying it. I really like this, both the streaming and the project. Having a lot of fun making this device. And I feel like it's starting to look cool now, or starting to take shape and actually look like something that's not just a weird rectangular cube. So yeah, anybody who sees this from the Golden Shrimp Guild, shout out. Thanks for accepting me into your lovely community, and I'll see you on the next one. Enjoy your day, your morning, your afternoon, whatever it is, and yeah, see you soon, hopefully. Bye.